What's up, y'all? My name is Ian Edwards. Welcome to the Soccer Comic Rant. I'm in a different location. It's undisclosed. It's none of your business where I'm at. If you're watching, like and subscribe. If you're listening, it sounds like I'm in the same spot. So you ain't got to worry about that. If you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. And we're going to talk about a bunch of things. We're going to talk about the upcoming matches in the Premier League this weekend. Premier League's been gone for a minute, but now it's back. We had some business to handle like FA Cup and Carabao Cup. And now we know the two teams that are going to be in the finals. We're going to talk Chelsea Fulham. We're going to talk transfers. And we'll just cover it all. Also, I got some shows coming up. And one of them is in Seattle at the Hereafter, February 11th, 2 shows, 7 and 9 p.m. So if you're in Seattle or know somebody in Seattle, tell them to come out to these shows. I want to introduce one of the co-hosts, usual suspect, Lee Hudson, stand-up comic from England. He's wearing the Southampton shirt. So yes, that's who he supports. And how you feeling?
I'm feeling a little bit better after we brought in some players in positions we needed to bring them in the transfer window. So we'll see how quickly they hit the ground running. They need to. So I'm feeling okay. One's 20, one's 28. So
you got a 28-year-old?
Yeah, 6'7", 28-year-old, top scorer in the Belgian league.
Belgian wake horse.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's Nigerian, but he's been playing in Belgium.
Okay.
But I mean, we're playing Brentford this weekend, so I'm hoping he's available straight away because we could do with a 6'7" guy against Brentford. Because there's going to be not even from an attacking point of view, he's a centre forward, but we need him for defending against Brentford. There's going to be long throws. There's going to be corners.
Right. Whatchamacallit. So that's good. You definitely needed like a goal scoring threat. They probably put him in like you figure like later on in the game. They probably won't start him. You think?
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know how quick the work permits are getting done and how often they can train with the team and stuff. So yeah, starting might be a bit too early.
Right. And the transfer window is closed now, but a lot of teams did a lot of dealings. Even Manchester United surprised the football world by getting Sabitzer from Bayern in to replace Eriksen, who's injured. But since we're on the topic of United, let's just wrap up the Carabao Cup semifinals and talk about the finals a little bit. And with the Man U match, we were already up 3-0 versus Nottingham Forest in the first leg, and we scored those 3 goals away at their house, and they came to ours. And one thing I can say about United is it might not always look like it's not the finished deal, but there are some elements of it. It has elements of the finished project. Are those VR glasses?
The sun's shining too brightly on me again. I can't really.
You look like a Chelsea transfer that's trying to.
I have my credit cards, to answer any questions you may have.
Oh, good. I mean, the questions I want to ask you are kind of different, but we'll get to it. But this is Neil Chakravarty, stand-up comic and Chelsea fan, and he's just going to be drinking a lot from now on, waiting for the shoe to drop on the financial fair play.
I got out the top shelf for today.
Yeah. I feel like every Chelsea fan is going to be an alcoholic for now until when some accountants start going through those books and seeing what's up, how they were cooked exactly. But we'll see. Like before you got on, I was just talking about United's game versus Nottingham Forest and how we won the first leg, and we just have to do the second leg and take this thing home and get to Wembley. And I was saying that we're not the finished article, but we have elements of being the finished article, and that is how we are defensively and how we treat teams on the level of Forest, where you almost, for most of the game, feel no threat from them, and you're basically in control. Now, every team is going to get some chances, so you expect that. But we've been getting like most of the clean sheets against teams of this level, and this was not something that United was like in the last few years. Like, we've been knocked out of competitions like this under Solskjaer. So there is that.
It's
like,
probably
there's
the first final in a while, right?
The last one we did was the
You reach
Europa
a
League
final.
final.
Yeah, so that's been a while, right?
I was there the last time United won a trophy against Ajax.
Oh shit!
Oh, and the Mourinho.
Yeah, that's the last time.
2017. Yeah, that was the last time they won.
That was the Mourinho one, right?
Yeah.
Right. And then when did we go? We lost in the final probably 2 years ago.
Yeah, Villarreal.
Villarreal, yeah. Which is part of why, like, Solskjaer got fired, because they figured we're going to kick off from there. We got Ronaldo and we got Sancho, and then the season just went downhill. But like in games like 2 days ago or yesterday, like we just made it a formality, and we got the goals we needed to get, and we knew they weren't going to come back after we got those goals. And we're also like getting a chance to like experiment with players and like get the job done and get people in and try them out in new positions to see if we can use them in those positions for future games. So we're accomplishing a bunch of things in one. We're killing two birds with one stone, and that's great progress. And then you could see as a fan the team moving forward. Normally, sometimes when a team moves forward incrementally, you can't see the increments. But with United, you could see the metrics are like right before your very eyes. And one of the most outstanding things in this game, besides all the goals that were scored, bless you, and it was when in the 62nd, 63rd minute, when we made 3 subs. Like, when the 3 starters who started the season come on as subs, right? That was the greatest moment of like one of the greatest moments of the season for me, because first I realized, I was like, oh shit, that's our bench. Our bench that game in the 60-something minute coming onto the field in a semifinal was Rashford, Sancho, and Martial. Like, those were the starters in our preseason forward line, and they were successful in the preseason, and we were looking forward to them being successful all season. Martial, because Rashford has been, but to see them come on, not start the game, they didn't start a game that we were in complete control of, and that's when I think that moment blew a lot of United fans' minds. That just gave us hope for the rest of the season going forward. Like, if some fan is cocky and think we're going to beat Newcastle in the final easy, like, that was probably the moment. Then you're like, oh shit. Like, when you could pull 3 guys off the bench like that and you were already in control of the game, you're like, and it was good to see Sancho back. I hope he fully recovers from what he was going through physically, emotionally, and mentally, and becomes a star for us, because you want that. But it's just great to see him out there. And he played the 10, as people have been suggested. I always thought he could play a little 10 too. So we'll see if that's what we're going to do going forward. Lindelof came on at another time. He played the 6. So there was that. And that's the experimenting and the implemental growing of the team and put them in different positions and situations, especially in a semifinal. But to have the confidence, you have this shit under control so you can experiment like that. These are like and back a year ago, if you made substitutions like that, it was out of desperation, not out of like progress. So these are beautiful things to see. Like, we have the luxury to be able to do things like that. So that's beautiful. So I think Fred, nobody's saying it for some reason. Like, our fan base is always gonna not give Fred full credit, but he played pretty good. Like there were some moments he frustrated me, but he played a lot of forward balls, you know. Like sometimes he really got the game going. And that's when Fred is good. Like when Fred is not trying to sit on the ball and he's trying to like, I call our form of football rondo football, because Ten Hag came in the preseason and he has all these different rondo games that City used to do, but he's really implementing them with our team and making them take them seriously. It's really improving the level of skill and technical ability of our team. And when Fred, and you can see when Fred is playing rondo football, not holding on to it, passing it before the pressure comes, like he's good. I'm not saying he's a replacement for Eriksen, but that's when you see best Fred, you know, like one touch net, not trying to sit on it. And, you know, the problem with Fred is he likes to show off. He wants to prove to you he's Brazilian, and that's when you get the worst of Fred, when he tries to do some Brazilian shit. Like, just pass the ball, Fred, you know? So he scored. I forgot was it Casemiro who scored again?
Martial got the other one.
Martial came on and scored, so that was beautiful. And there's a competition between him and Weghorst now, who's going to be the 9. Hopefully, Weghorst is healthy. But this is promising to have some depth in our squad, knowing about all the games we got coming up, especially the week of the final, you know, versus Newcastle. We have, like, you know, some depth, you know, there's some play, you know, and Sabitzer could possibly also give Casemiro a break, depending on how you want to do it. You can have him play next to Casemiro or give Casemiro a break, because he's kind of like does what Casemiro does and kind of can't do what Eriksen does, you know, so we could pick and choose there. But I like what we're doing. Yeah, it wasn't a fantastic smashing window, but I don't believe in spending all that money all the time. And I'm not even saying that because Neil is here and I'm trying to diss Chelsea. But I don't. I think all teams are so ravenous. Like the fans want to spend money so bad sometimes, and it's like give some of the youth a chance. So yeah, that's where that's. So we're gonna go up against Newcastle. And Lee, if you want to talk about your game against Newcastle, then we could talk about just speculate on the final a little bit, and then.
Yeah, sure. I mean, first things first, I mean, just going back to your game quick, like, I think it's a really good sign that you can rotate quite heavily in a semi-final and still come through unscathed. Because Forest, you know, they were up for it. They're no mugs. They're still hard to beat, even if they don't always threaten. But yeah, I mean, that's bodes well for you guys. But us against Newcastle, yeah, we made the mistake of starting slow. Longstaff scored 2 for them in the first like 25 minutes, which kind of killed us. We started with a 3-5-2. And then because of an injury, we switched to a back 4 and went back to a 4-3-3. And then all of a sudden we looked like more of a threat. Che Adams scored a great finish. He seized on a sort of loose pass and then hit one from 25 yards.
Isn't that frustrating?
It is, because like
Che
I said to you,
Adams scores a goal like that.
Yeah,
it's got to be the most frustrating thing, because you're like, hey, you just did that? Why don't you do it more often?
Well, like he scored like a pinpoint strike from like 25 yards, but he can't finish 1v1s. And it's like I said to you in the chat, though, I was like, that means he won't score for another 2 months now. Because he's just a frustrating player, and he's potentially going to lose his place now that we've got Paul Onuachu from Genkin, the big 6'7" Belgian target man with, top scorer in Belgium to his name this season. So, but yeah, I mean, Che Adams scored that goal. We looked like we might put up a little bit of a fight, but I mean, obviously we're 3-1 down on aggregate at that point. And then Bruno Guimaraes got sent off for a horrible foul.
Thank you for that.
We just didn't really have enough about us to then go and put pressure on, really. Newcastle's are, like we said, they're a solid team. They're hard, even with 10 players, they're hard to break down. They're a really solid team. So I think that'll be a really good game to watch in the final between you two guys. Because I think the final for the Carabao Cup's quite early. I think it's like late March, maybe.
No, it's February. The end of February, like 26th or...
Is it?
Might be the 26th.
Is it end of February? Yeah, that's a Sunday, yeah. Oh, shit. Yeah. Let me just check. Carabao Cup final. Yeah, 26th of Feb. So I'll be out in LA. We can watch that one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, cool.
I wonder how I knew what day Man United was going to be in a final at Wembley. I wonder how.
But no, that'll be a really great game to watch, I think, because I think you're
For
probably
you.
two of the most. For me, yeah. For every neutral,
I'm going to be biting the nails I don't got.
Because I mean, Arsenal aside, you two guys are probably two of the most informed teams in the Premier League.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're both up there in the league because of that. So yeah, I'm just looking forward to a good game of football in that one. I think, you know, it'd be nice for you guys to win a trophy because you want to start breeding that culture of winning and turning up in finals and getting some silverware. But equally, it's not the end of the world because I think finishing top 4 and getting back in the Champions League and finishing as high in that top 4 as possible is probably your priority. But like I say, it doesn't hurt to win a trophy and have the players feel like winners, and start getting that mentality ahead of the future. Because I think, you know, Ten Hag could potentially do great things with this club if he's allowed to really mold the squad in his image even more. And, you know, I think with further transfer windows, he'll get the squad really to a place where it's exactly how he wants it in every position. So, yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt to do that. But like I said, I'm looking forward to that final. It'll be a good game of football, hopefully. And
good meaning United wins.
I hope for your sake they do.
Yeah.
But it'll be a tough one.
Yeah, it'll be a tough one.
It's pretty symbolic the way the Premier League has gone, that it's Newcastle and United, the two teams and the two managers who've kind of, you know, shown a level that wasn't probably, like, people didn't know, right? Like even Ten Hag, we were discussing before the season that he's probably not expected to make top 4. He's probably going to get a free ride this season. And he looks so comfortable now in the race for top 4 and is in the first domestic final he could have got in. And similarly, Eddie Howe, like, you know, that Saudi takeover is going perfectly. Like if you needed any proof like this, a Wembley appearance is as big as it can be.
Yeah, you would think for Newcastle to be in any final at this point, they would have had to have spent a Chelsea amount of dollars. And they are not even close. Yeah. They spent like mid-league table money to be near the top of the league. So I guess, I don't know, we could try to talk about, I just know it's going to be a tough game. Like you guys said, Newcastle and Manchester United probably with Arsenal, and who's a little bit ahead of us. And I would say City too, like top teams in form. Behind that is probably Brighton Hove. I think Brighton Hove is playing better than they were at the beginning of the season, and then we have to face them soon. But I think we have to face them at our spot. So that's going to be, they're a threat. But the Premier League is back this weekend, right? And transfer windows closed. Lee mentioned some of the transfers that they made. Southampton. I mentioned the one transfer we got, which is a loan. Well, we had 2, Weghorst and Sabitzer. But I guess if we don't start talking about Chelsea's transfers now at the beginning of the show, we're going to run out of time to get to all of them. So let's just start. And then I have a question about the Fulham game, which is the first Premier League game for Chelsea, or game for Chelsea.
Can we not talk about football, like actual on the pitch football? Can we just talk?
You don't when you talk about Chelsea, because Chelsea plays their football in Football Manager.
There's not been much happened this week either.
Yeah, I'm like, can we just like keep having the transfer window for some more time? I'm kidding. I wasn't like, when this window began, obviously like we're all accustomed to not really expecting a lot from January windows, right? not a lot happens, not a lot of quality players
Not anymore.
available. Yeah, I think that's what I was saying. Like, Todd Bowley and Vedad Iqbal, they've pretty much looked at this thing as a problem to be solved rather than, going by the convention of, oh, you can only do this much at a time. You can only do it during the summer. He's looked at it and, okay, so this is what the data is recommending. This is what the manager wants. So what's the real hurdle in getting them in the winter, right? And some hurdles we couldn't really cross, like I think we wanted Quesedo to Moses Quesedo. Turns out we wanted Bissouma from Spurs, and these are players that they just said nothing doing. Lavia from Southampton was somebody we were interested in, but yeah, so clubs just wouldn't do business, right? So, but
is that the 19-year-old?
Yeah.
Okay, so you held on to him,
right?
Yeah, he's special as well.
So he's kind of like, if what can be done, let's do it. Like, if it's some money, if you have to pay a little bit more, let's go out and pay it right now. So yeah, it's a mind-boggling amount of money, and I still have concerns over FFP. And I've mentioned that in the last couple of podcasts that some of it doesn't really make sense to me.
right?
But I've also read a lot since then that it's assured me a little bit.
Right.
That maybe.
I mean, what Chelsea did for the league was all the accountants for FFP are going to be so busy focusing on Chelsea that other teams might be able to get away with murder because they're going to need all their calculators for Chelsea. So my question to you is this, and this, so you're Fulham, right? And you got to play Chelsea tomorrow, as a matter of fact, y'all play.
Yeah.
What the fuck is Marco Silva? How does he plan for a starting 11? Like, there's never been a time, unless you just switch leagues, right? Like, or you're playing Bournemouth, do you have to be like, who are they going to play out of their 20 players? Like, Fulham is coming into this, like, so what's their formation? We don't know. Coach, who's going to be their right wing? We don't know. They might not even have right wingers, or they might play three on the right wingers. Who's going to be in their midfielders? Well, we know it ain't going to be Jorginho, but that's all we know, because they got so many new players that Bournemouth was like, y'all got so many new players that Nottingham Forest is like, hey man, y'all are buying too much. You know what I'm saying? So who is this? What is this team going to look like on tomorrow? Like, you know more about Chelsea than anybody else I know. Who you going to start, bro, and where? And what's your formation going to be? Because Fulham wants to know.
I don't think Potter even knows.
Exactly. Potter would like to know.
I think formation-wise, it's still going to be the 4-2-3-1, which we've used a lot. I know we kind of used a 3 at the back hybrid versus Liverpool, but generally last 6-7 games we've used the 4-2-3-1.
Right.
And I think it's going to be that. A lot of decisions, even though I know it's a bloated squad and there's like, we bought so many players, but you also have to remember we've had like 11 or 12 injuries.
No, I know, but some of those injured players are better now, right? Fofana.
They are better, but like, no, Fofana just started training. So nobody's really fit to start a game yet. Because Kovacic is out, Kante is out, Pulisic is out, Mendy is out. These guys are out, like they're not even training. Zakaria. So 5 are just out. They're not even training right now.
At this point, y'all bought so much players, injuries actually help Potter.
Yeah.
Because it cuts down the amount of decisions.
Yeah. And then there's Reece James, Wesley Fofana, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and one more. Chilwell. 4 people who've just about started training. So that's 9, right? And there's a couple of.
I say you play Chilwell now because he'll only be healthy for 3 games. So just get his next injury out the way and get as much out of him as you can.
So, I mean, what happened in the transfer window is I'm pretty happy with the kind of players we the profiles that we got. Now, obviously, in terms of the quality of the players, a lot of the players I haven't really seen much. Like Enzo Fernandez, for example, I've seen him at the World Cup and I've seen a couple of games at the Champions League, and he's always looked good. But that's just such a small sample set of games that I don't really know a lot of what to expect. But we know the problems that this midfield has had. Jorginho just left. Kovacic always injured entering into the last year of his contract. Kante always injured entering in. I mean, he's in the last couple of months of his contract.
I don't think he'll
Zakaria
ever
is
play
on
for
the
you
loan.
guys again.
Yeah, so Zakaria, he's on the loan and he's injured. So we have 4 players that are gone. So we desperately needed somebody. And he seems to be the top target that we had. So I'm in a way happy, unlike what you've seen in previous seasons where we've kind of compromised and still ended up paying for somebody who's not as good. At least we are paying, even though we had to pay a lot of money, we are paying for the top target that the club had. Mudryk, again, like on the left wing, we haven't had somebody who has that amount of pace. Sterling's not the 22-year-old Sterling anymore. And again, he's been injured. He was the other guy who's coming back from injury. So Mudryk, Madueke on the right-hand side is probably going to take Ziyech's spot, for the long term.
How unhappy is Ziyech right now?
Yeah. Well, I mean, PSG, like the whole thing didn't really make sense to me even when it was happening, because PSG wanted him on loan, but there was no option or obligation to buy. Like it was a 4-month loan for what? Like you already have Di Maria, you have Messi. So he's literally trading one bench for the other.
PSG don't have Di Maria anymore. He's with Juventus.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I think it was because PSG sold Sarabia to Wolves, the Spanish winger.
Okay.
Which lost them a right winger.
And then just buy the guy, like put some money on the table. Like you're PSG. What are you trying to save money on?
Because they want to see you fail FFP as well.
They respect FFP rules. And they're like, we can't overbuy. What do we think? We're Chelsea? Yeah, we're just an oil nation. We don't got money like Chelsea.
That really pissed me off when I saw like PSG's trying to go in for a loan for Ziyech, which pretty much means that we kind of lose some control over the player, but we don't get any financial benefits in return for that.
You do kind of, right? Because salary counts against the
he's been on a pretty low salary anyway, and it's just 4 or 5 months that we're talking about. So
but it's really like a future investment in getting rid of him. So like if he does good at PSG might be tempted to buy him at the end of the season, which you need that money taken off your books and the sale price.
No, but in that case, why not have an option to buy in the loan? They didn't want that, which clearly meant they were looking at him just as a short-term fix.
Right, but then maybe Chelsea is like, first of all, if they're ready to loan him, he ain't gonna play for you. So it's
I think he'll play. Now that he's there, I think he'll play. Because also,
did you buy any right wingers? I mean,
we did buy Noni Madueke from PSV, but the way the Champions League rules are that we can only register 3 new players, and Madueke is not going to be one of them. So in the Champions League, we definitely Ziyech has that starting spot available for him, like if he's playing well. So I think he's going to get some game time. He has been doing actually pretty well in the last couple of games. So I'm not that bothered about the fact that thing, didn't.
He's distraught.
Yeah, tough luck. You're still on our payroll. You're still contracted to us. At the end of the day, much like I thought about Pulisic last summer, that you may think that you want to go, but there should be some other club who wants to do business that is beneficial to Chelsea. Like we are not running a charity, So
unless you're buying, unless you're Benfica, yeah,
or Shakhtar. But no, I'm pretty happy about the kind of players that we've got. again, unproven. A lot of them are unproven. But in terms of the needs that the squad had, I think except for that out and out striker, we have pretty much addressed all of them.
You got 2 out and out strikers next season. Their name is Nkunku and Lukaku.
And Broya may be coming back from an injury.
And Broya from injury. So that problem is solved and unsolved based on like that position is like,
if Lukaku ever makes a comeback,
it's the Game of Thrones of that position.
That will be the most, like, so many bizarre things have happened in the last 18 months at Chelsea. But if Lukaku makes a comeback, that is gonna top all of it.
I mean,
he should want to come back.
Yeah, it's a change of manager, and also from what I've heard, Inter do not have the money to buy him.
Yeah,
he should come back.
But you know, he didn't just burn bridges with the manager, right? He burned bridges with everybody at Chelsea. Like, there's not a single fan. He's gonna have to wear these glasses all the time just so he doesn't get pelted by.
Listen, there's people in sports. Look at Saicedo. He's got to go with his tail between his legs back to Brighton. There's people in worse positions like that.
No, I don't think it's the same. I think Saicedo, even in the worst case scenario, that's a 6-month long thing that he needs to pull off. But Lukaku, I mean, everybody in the fan base hates him.
Yeah.
How's that gonna work? So basically, the only way
come back and score some goals.
And keep scoring non-stop from game one. That's the only way. He needs to win the Golden Boot or something.
And he did you guys a favor this year anyway, because he's been injured pretty much the entire season at Milan. And if he'd have come there and got injured like this and not played at all, you guys would have been mad anyway. So at least somebody's paying his salary, and you don't have this injury added to the roster of injuries that you already got.
I guess, but I think just from a emotional and the off the pitch stuff, it's just gonna be so much drama.
I get it.
Because I don't trust him to be that Golden Boot guy anyway, right? So we'll see.
We'll see. Who's your favorite signing out of these 40 new names?
Again, as I said, most of these guys I haven't really seen perform a lot. But I think for me, it is between, in terms of profile, it is somewhere between Enzo Fernandez and Mudryk, between one of those two.
I also went through a list of the biggest signings in Premier League history. And a lot of them most of them didn't work.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of pressure. I know Enzo played at the World Cup, but he had a Messi on his team. So even though he had somebody who was a focal point to play for, plus his country, and there's that thing that can get your emotions working in a positive way for you. But this thing could also get Chelsea hasn't been that good at buying. Remember that transfer window that got Frank Lampard fired?
Yeah.
Everybody's pretty much been a failure, even though you did win the Europa League. So
not really. I think 3 out of the 6 were failures. Because
who'd you get in? Who did you get? Who are the 6?
So Havertz, failure. Well, Havertz, I think jury's out. He might still
because scored in the Champions League final.
Yeah. So I think Havertz is like a average. Ziyech, failure. Werner, failure. But I actually think all 3 of Mendy, Chilwell, and Silva have been hits. Silva definitely. Mendy, he came in and he straight away solved the goalkeeping problem for us. And
But then now he
became the best keeper. But he became the best keeper in the world. And yeah, he's had a rough time of late. But the reason that we bought him in for, and he's pretty cheap too, he did that, right? He was one of the guys. he's got the all-time best record for a goalkeeper at the Champions League when he won. And Chilwell, I think he's still, whenever he's fit, he's still a starting left back.
Even the guy you say, Chilwell, who was not a failure, injury-wise, it's a fair. Is there a record of how many games he's played compared to how many he's missed for you guys? Would it be he's missed more than he's played if you look that up?
I think it'd be close. Yeah, definitely.
So it's just weird. You guys are like, I don't know. Is there something going on with your training? I had this question about Arsenal once when Wenger was there towards the end of it. Like, they had so many injuries. I was like, something's up with the training. Is there something up with your training?
Yeah, and especially because we've also this has been going on for multiple seasons now. I think this is the third season in a row where we've had big injury crises. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Injuries are such a thing, right? Like, you sitting outside, it's very tough to know whether it's because it's not even the same training regime. It's happened across Lampard, Tuchel, and now Potter. So 3 different coaching setups, 3 different backroom staff, 3 different medical departments, at least 2 different medical departments, because Bowley's come out and he pretty much swapped the entire medical department. So it's tough to say what's going on.
Yeah, it's weird. You got anything you want to ask him, Lee?
No, just if you do buy Lavia, we want at least 150 million plus add-ons.
Damn. You know they got it. You know they got it.
Yeah, but they're going to try and pay us over like 50 years or something.
I would say, so David Ornstein from The Athletic, he in his podcast said that he said there's this other player who didn't actually make the move to Chelsea, but was apparently really impressed by the Graham Potter project. And rumors are that's Lavia. So yeah, maybe one to look out for in the summer.
He's been brilliant since he joined us. Like, he struggled with injury a little bit, but whenever he has played, like, it's crazy how at home he looks in the Premier League already as a teenager. It's like his first season of senior football. But I mean, he almost got an assist for Adam Armstrong against Newcastle. He played this amazing like reverse pass that nobody else saw that split the defense completely. And then Armstrong fucked up the 1v1. Yeah, like he's really special. He's like, you can tell he's had that Man City education. He's just so comfortable and he works hard. He can tackle as well. So he's kind of like the sort of ideal like hybrid centre midfielder that can do a bit of everything.
The double six guy.
Exactly. Yeah, he'd be perfect for a double pivot. So yeah, I mean, I could see why you guys want him. I hope we don't lose him after only one season. If we go down, he's definitely gone. If if we manage to stay up, then it means we can probably just put a higher price tag on him. But we spoke about this when we were talking about Brighton last week, in that when you're a club of a certain size, if a big club manages to turn the head of one of your players, then there's not really much you can do other than try and get the biggest fee you can.
But you could turn it back by saying,
but Brighton did it, right? Brighton managed to like Casero. It's not just his head got turned; like he went public with the transfer request.
They did, and to be honest, like sometimes you just got to sell the player, because what if he goes back now and doesn't play well for the rest of the season, and then eventually say, you guys or Arsenal buy him in the summer for 50 million when they could have got 70 million in this window. Or no, I think 70 was the sticking point because they like clubs are only offering 60. But you know what I mean? Like, it's sometimes you have to just go, right, we're going to get maximum value right now. His head's been turned. Mentally, he won't be the same after this. So let's just take the highest bid we can and accept that that's how, that's where we stand in the world as a football club, that we can't ever compete really with these guys. I mean, sometimes holding on to a player works out, and I think most of the time it doesn't.
I think with Brighton, they've actually been pretty good at, if a player is doing well and has attracted attention,
Mm.
they will set a price and they will sell. I think this time, the way Casero handled that whole thing, they kind of wanted to make an example of him. Like they were really pissed off. Like we want this to happen on our terms, not on the terms of some player on our books.
George Mendes had something to do with that potential sale, but he's not his agent. So I was hearing,
yeah, that's weird. Like even Enzo Fernandez, he's not his agent, but his name keeps popping up all the time.
Yeah, maybe it was Enzo and not it was Enzo. He was involved in that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But that's yeah. So talking about transfers, I guess once you
I keep hearing
what is this beef? So I didn't read this article, but I should. But the nerve of La Liga. The ball.
Seriously.
La Liga.
Seriously,
Seriously,
those guys crack me up.
Like to be like, because of the amount of money that the Premier League spent, specifically Chelsea, they're like, you got to examine the books of these teams and blah, 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 blah. Like, hey, you guys fucked your own league. You had the two best players in recent football history going head to head for almost, if not 10 years. And you just placated yourself to the two top teams in the league and didn't use these two guys as a foundation to grow the entire La Liga. And then now, because it's like Bayern Bayern is damaging the Bundesliga, no question. And so as the reason why Bayern is not going to be, the Bundesliga is not going to be as popular as the Premier League is because it's not that balanced. Like Leicester could win the fucking Premier League. Arsenal, with some coaching and some good moves, can win the Premier League. You know what I mean? Like the Premier League is always, even at the beginning of the season, if it just ends up being two teams fighting it out by the halfway point, there's hope for like 6 teams. And then like Bundesliga is just Bayern. And then the La Liga is like Real Madrid, Barca, and then is it going to be the year when Atletico is going to do something once in a while? But you don't be like looking at our books, bro. When you also did that to you.
And also, Real Madrid and Barcelona started the whole Galacticos era, right?
Yeah.
15 years back. Like TV money wasn't really a thing back then in the amounts that it is right now. They were doing that 15 years back.
I don't know the full ins and outs of it, and someone might correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Real Madrid's finances were guaranteed by the Spanish government or something as well, and also La Liga were dead quiet when Barcelona were spending all this money they didn't have in the summer on 1,000 players when they were signing Lewandowski and Rafinha. Yeah, like Barca were doing that all summer. So yeah, it's very much I think. I agree with what you're saying. It's very much glass houses.
I think they're just pissed off as to how
jealousy.
It's jealousy, and also they're kind of seeing that ship sail away. Yeah, and they knowing that they don't really have a chance of clawing this back. Like, what are they going to do? What are they going to do? Really somehow make Real Betis and make Real Sociedad into an advertisable commodity? They can't do that. The time for that has gone. Like, Bournemouth are taking players from the upper echelons of Europe now. They've completely missed the boat of the whole globalization, the smartphone revolution, the social media revolution, and now they're like literally picking up the pieces. Their only hope is the Super League, and fans have made it very clear they don't want the Super League. So that's not going to happen.
Yeah. We've got the Super League. It's the Premier League.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're like,
how about you humble yourself?
Stones. And it's like, you know what? If I'm one of the teams that they won in the Super League and you throwing stones at me, I'm not joining you fucking fools. Is that how you would treat a potential partner? Go fuck yourself,
Exactly.
bro.
No, I'm so happy that their true colors are really being shown, and all these owners can see how it's gonna work out if they ever have to be in a collaborative environment with them. Because
also, what I would say as well is that these guys should be thankful in these leagues that the Premier League is pumping money into their clubs. Like we're giving money to their clubs that they wouldn't otherwise have. Right. Because if, you know, say if there's someone at, I don't know, a 5th or 6th place La Liga team who's going to get bought by Bayern, that will be for about a third of the fee that a Premier League club would spend on that player. Like Premier League clubs are putting money in, they're investing money into all these European leagues essentially. Like they're paying, because they're paying over the odds for these players, it's funding these clubs to a level that they wouldn't get if they were selling to a French club or a German club or Italian club.
See, that's where you know that when the La Liga president comes out and says these things, he's actually not concerned about La Liga. He's just doing the bidding of the two big clubs. Because the only clubs that are hurt by this are Barcelona and Real Madrid. It actually benefits the rest of the clubs. But they don't care about the rest of the league. They don't care about the quality of the league. They don't care about the standard of football. They don't care about keeping the best players in the league. They just care about, they get a phone call from the head of Barcelona, the head of Real Madrid. All right, here's your talking points for tomorrow. Go find morning radio. Go and talk about all of this nonsense. So that's all there is to it. And they know that they need the English clubs way more than the English clubs need them.
Yeah, and they're worried about the shift of power in the Europa League, in the UEFA. Like they're worried about Barca and Real Madrid not being able to compete with British teams in the Champions League for a bunch of years to come, and them not winning and Barca and Real Madrid not doing well in those competitions or being able to hang. So it's just like you said, the president is doing the bidding of the two teams who he's barely regulating financially in his league.
Yeah, like if he really cared about competition in his league, why aren't the other 18 clubs, those presidents, talking about the nonsense that these two clubs have been doing? That would have happened in the Premier League, by the way. If and it's already happening. Like Chelsea spending all this money, we are not even pulling economic levers, mortgaging our entire future for the next 25 years. We are not doing any of that, but still you have rumblings of Arsenal putting out feelers of not liking what we're doing. But they don't have any of that. They're just happy accepting a duopoly back in Spain.
Yeah, we'll warn, and I've said this before, we'll warn the Premier League teams to stop overpaying, to not, because, having a lot of money sometimes clouds how much money really you have for the future. So I do want us to be cautious and be more be more bright and hold with it all, find the Mitomas and the players like that and the Caicedos for cheap, who are really good, that are going to grow into value, instead of paying for them, overpaying. You know what I mean? And
but I think this
it doesn't. I hope we don't spend all the money we got and then we end up, because everything is cyclical. I don't want us to become the league that used to be the league. I want us to stay the league.
No, I think this season, Chelsea, even though we've spent a lot on big money transfers, we've also done those smartish buys, people for the future, like buying people before they've actually blown up. Like the guy from Brazil, Andre Santos, he's captaining Brazil now in the under-20 Copa America, and he scored 4 goals in 5 games while being a deep-lying midfielder. So
which one is this?
Andre Santos.
From Vasco da Gama, undisclosed fee.
Yeah, it's about.
I'm looking at this.
I can disclose it right now to you.
Please.
It's about 12 million euros.
All right, let's see. Hopefully he does well.
Yeah, And
Or
then
hopefully, because he only costs 12 mil, he gets some time on the pitch.
yeah, and we got Chukwuemeka from Villa. I think 18 million. And then
What's his position? No, I think it was 30 mil.
No, he's 18 million.
I think the add-ons, because that's Lloyd's boy. So maybe the add-ons go to 30. No?
Yeah, maybe. But I don't think add-ons can be 12 million for something that's at 18 million by, but I don't know. And then we got the guy from Norway, Dr. Fofana, for about, how much does it say here? Fofana is 12 million euros. And then the guy from Chicago Fire, the goalkeeper, Gabriel Slovina, for 9 million. So, there's like
good deals if they turn out good.
And then Cesar Casadei from Inter for around 9 million. So these are some good acquisitions too. So the thing I like about what the current recruitment team is that they're not just thinking they're thinking actually of the entire club as a whole. They're thinking of today, tomorrow, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line, because that is something that we've lacked as a football club.
I know they are, but it's risky as hell. This could be the biggest risk since crypto.
So the risk really here is that if we don't get Champions League football, if a lot, like 80% of these buys turn out to be bust. But one good thing that they have done is they've the new wage contracts are incentivized. So there's and they're not as big. So for somebody like Modric, for example, even though he's come here on a 70 million euro transfer fee, he's only on 97K a week. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and that's pretty much the ballpark.
And that's for 20 years, right?
Yeah, we're going to make him retire on that. And so Enzo Fernandez is probably going to be taking Jorginho's spot in the team, right? But he's on a lower wage bill than Jorginho. So now we are talking about players who are young, have potential. So in the best case scenario, they reach that potential and serve Chelsea, right? The medium scenario is that they don't turn good, and we have to sell them at a loss. But the worst case scenario is that they just stay on the books. But even in that case, the salaries are not that much. So I think they have covered their bases a lot. There's a lot more method to the madness than we are used to as Chelsea fans under Abramovich.
Yeah, and I guess people on the outside, we just want to make fun of it, so we'll ignore all that.
Oh no, that's totally fine. I mean, it's just
we just want to banter, bro.
This time last year, like the banter was about Chelsea going under and being dissolved as a football club. So I'll take this.
That was a banter. that was. Whew.
Yeah, there's some Chelsea fans who feel Putin should have gone to war earlier.
It's hilarious. What do you think the chances are against Fulham? That's pretty hilarious.
Oh, we're going to lose for sure. For sure.
Why?
This just lines up so beautifully.
Because of Willian?
No, just for the storyline. Like we have to lose. Like the way everything else is in the works. That
the joke has to be on you.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought we played well against Fulham. The game we lost. I think the Felix red card was a turning point. I don't think we lose that game if it was 11v11. Probably could have even won it because Felix was playing well that game. So, but having said that, as you said, there's going to be so many differences, right? Like Modric is probably going to start his first game. Madueke might start his first game. Enzo is definitely starting tomorrow, as long as we can get the paperwork done. So, brave new world. Let's see what's happening.
I mean, I normally do this anyway when a match is about to start. Like, I'd look at what do they call it? Team sheet?
Yeah.
Players. I mean, I'm gonna be like, who is that? Like for the whole Chelsea squad tomorrow. Like what? How do you pronounce it? Like the commentators are going to be stumbling over names because they've never seen these people before.
Like Chelsea number 5.
Yeah. Trying to think of like the big Everton versus Arsenal Saturday. That's Sean Dyche's. Yeah. You think Everton can get anything out of this? They got a new Sean Dyche. They didn't buy anything. They sold.
I mean, have you seen the training sessions?
I've seen a photo of somebody out of breath.
Yeah, he's like, he's been running them into the ground. They've been doing bleep tests and stuff, which is unnecessary in my opinion, and everything I've been taught on my coaching licenses. But he's been making the bleep tests. It's like where you have to run just between. It's like doing suicides, but you have to like hit the line the same time as a bleep, and if you don't get there before the beep, you're out. You're eliminated. It's pretty brutal. It's normally like a pre-season thing to, well, they say it's to ascertain fitness levels, but it's not really, the best way to do that to your players. He's banned players from wearing like snoods or hats or anything in training. They have to wear shorts, he says, because like he says you have to wear what you wear on a game day.
Okay.
And thing is that if you look at that just on the surface level, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Train how you play, etc. But training sessions are different to a match day. On a training session, you'll be standing around listening to the coach. The coach will be stopping the session to like walk in and go, you need to be here, you need to be here. And it is fucking cold right now here. So all I can imagine that like, it's going to go one of two ways. Like either the players will not enjoy this and their morale is going to go even further, or it will toughen them up old school style and they'll go and, fight for everything against Arsenal. Obviously, from a selfish point of view, I hope Arsenal demolish them.
Yeah.
Because we need to start moving up that table. We need some points.
I think when I think of Everton, they have traits of what United used to have, like lack of discipline and lack of being pushed. So I think this is the only way, if they ever have a chance of getting them to be competitive. I don't think you could be light on this team. Like, because so many managers have come and gone, and all of them better than Frank, and they didn't. And they didn't succeed with this team. So I feel like Sean Dyche is like, this is how I know how to survive. So this is what I have to do. And if we don't survive, I did everything that I knew what to do. So I feel like Everton's squad, they're suspect, the whole spine is suspect. It's been suspect for a decade. So they need to be pushed.
Yeah,
so,
he's got some players there who know how he works though, like Tarkowski's there, McNeil's there. So he's got a couple of guys that will like sort of get the rest of the players in line, I think. But equally, what I think is criminal and what all their fans have been going crazy about the last couple of days is that they sold Anthony Gordon for 40 million to Newcastle and then they signed nobody. So it's like they made their squad weaker in the middle of a relegation battle and didn't get any replacements in. Like, I know the time frame was short, but you should have had, if you were selling the guy, you should know who your targets are and be like, shit, let's go get this done now. We haven't got time. And they just didn't do anything. And
hey man, they were busy trying to sign Bielsa, all right? They were busy trying not to sign Bielsa to move on.
But this is what happened in the summer too, right? Like they got rid of Richarlison, but they didn't replace him with another forward of the.
You're wrong. Mopai.
Yeah, they didn't replace him with a forward.
Exactly.
Mopai is just like he's just Shea Adams with a more exotic name. Everton were actually linked to Shea Adams at the end of the window as well.
Hilarious. That's. Do they have a research department, a metrics department, or whatever? Like, they're so obvious.
Yeah.
United plays Crystal Palace. We owe them one, and I'm not going to talk about that a lot. But I want revenge for the draw that we got with them before the Arsenal game, and a lot of that was our fault, that draw, because we were winning the game, We got to the 90th minute, and they had a free kick, and we put the shortest wall up in Premier League history against a free kick. Like, we just kind of like disrespected their free kick taking abilities, and we paid for it. So yeah, let's get them. What do you guys think of Tottenham, Man City?
I mean, got to be a Man City win, really. Unless this Portuguese right wing back that Spurs have signed is world class. I think that's got to be a City win. So hopefully.
I mean,
Spurs caused them problems for half the game at Man City.
is everything all right at Man City? They got rid of Cancelo. Like, what's his name is not full fitness and doesn't play a lot. So who's playing left back?
Walker
Who's
is
playing right back?
Ake is playing left back as well.
And I think it's Rico Lewis, right, on the right.
Yeah, but he's so new. It's like, you're breaking him in.
They're mixing a match in. Pep Reddy plays the same team, I don't think. But Ake has been playing well there, and that was why he was willing to let Cancelo go, because he's been so impressed with how Ake's coped at left back. Because I mean, they've got so many centre backs with, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, Akanji. They don't necessarily need Ake to be a centre back anymore.
But Ake can't put a cross in like Cancelo. I heard Cancelo was unhappy with he wanted more playing time. So I heard he was unhappy about that.
I think Pep is just bored. Pep is just bored. Like he kind of like the league's become so easy for him. He's trying to like just artificially increase the difficulty level to see, okay, like what else can I do?
I kind of respect it in a way though, because it was almost like not quite to the same level, but it reminded me a little bit of Ferguson at United in the peak, when if he didn't like a player, they would go. Like, it didn't care if they were still like at their peak, where it's like Jaap Stam is like, no, you're going. Beckham, like, no, you're leaving. Like Van Nistelrooy, no, you're out. Like even Roy Keane, he was like, no, you're causing too many problems.
They at least did something. Apparently, Cancelo threw a ball or something at Pep or something like that. Like, it's something so minor.
That's kind of huge. That's disrespectful to throw a ball at your coach.
I think he's just making sure I think he's making sure no other players get any ideas though. We're just like, no, like if your attitude's bad, you're gone.
But that's the thing. Listen, you got rid of a player you might need in a Champions League final to win that Champions League final to make that pass. And it's a guy he felt was so valuable. He played him out of position on the right wing in big games, to get crosses in. I don't think everything's all right over there, and I think it's just the length of time Pep is out of place. Like, not everybody can be like a long-term coach at that level, that long. Like, I think, like this fantasy, when everybody looks at somebody like Ferguson and him doing it, it was a different time. And I just don't think something like that, maybe one other person it's even the NBA is like that. They used to be like, when Ferguson did what he did, there was NBA coaches that were doing that. There were NFL coaches. That's how it was. You know what I mean? Like, Ancelotti has to take breaks from Real Madrid to go back there to be effective. Zidane has to take breaks to go back to Real Madrid to be effective. Like,
Arteta did. He had issues with Aubameyang, disciplinary issues, and he got rid of him. So there are managers who are taking this time. I think it comes down to like, how much are you backed by the club, which obviously Pep is backed blindly by the club.
But I'm gonna say this: Aubameyang looks like a troublemaker. You feel me? Cancelo looks like an angel. Like, if you told me Cancelo caused some trouble, I'd be like, for real? I'm gonna put this one on Pep for some reason. But we'll see. I don't know if everything's all right in Paris. I don't think everything's utopia over there, you know. But Martin's going to come over on Sunday, and it'll be fun to see City beat.
Hopefully to
that
watch his
Tottenham
boys
man.
get destroyed by Haaland.
Yeah. Do you guys think there's anything else we should discuss this episode?
I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Liverpool's bad form continues against Wolves.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting one because I'm hoping Liverpool turn it around because Wolves are down towards the bottom. I'm just being selfish right now. Like,
I feel you.
We're playing Brentford, and that's a tough game for us. So Brentford away. So I mean, we need all the help we can get. We need other results to go our way as well. Otherwise, we're going to start getting cut adrift a bit.
I feel you. I hope West Ham turns it up against Newcastle. So I get it. And I hope City does beat Tottenham because I don't think we could pass City in the table, but we'd like to keep Tottenham back.
Yeah, smart.
What do you guys think of this is sticky. You're going into sticky territory.
I don't
know if anybody can guess. I don't know if can anybody guess where I'm going with this?
I've got to go, guys.
So the big news: Mason Greenwood, all charges dropped. But it's surprisingly, and I'm wondering why. Like a lot of the Man United platforms, United Stand, and United People's TV, that's United Stand, I think. United People's TV, like all of them are kind of against bringing Mason Greenwood back, you know? But I'm wondering how much of this train of thought is because of what happened yesterday, the day before this. That big moment, like based on where United is now at the table, Ten Hag, everything is very successful. And yesterday, when we brought on Rashford, Sancho, and Martial, is there a subconscious thing where a lot of the fan base is like, we don't need this young problem? Like, did yesterday happen at a perfect, that one 3-man substitution, did that convince United fans to be like, what do we need a Mason Greenwood for?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a part of it. Like if United were struggling, maybe especially struggling in the forward areas, maybe fans would be like, well, we still have him, we should probably use him. But now with all of these guys, Rashford being in such form, Garnacho, he's the academy kid who you can lay your hopes on now. But also, I think in this case, there is the plausible deniability bit is really not there because everybody's seen those photos, have heard those voice notes. So it's not like he was acquitted in a court of law. The charges were dropped.
But isn't that even better when they say no?
No, because it essentially means the witnesses turned around,
turned hostile.
And in this sort of instance, that could mean a number of things. It could mean a payoff. It could mean intimidation. You don't know. It's very rare that a witness will just.
It's not a
in
mobster.
This case, the witness is likely going to be, the person involved, and for a witness to just go no. I mean, at the very least, if there's nothing shady going on, it will be because they don't want the attention of being dragged through the court case and having their life laid out in front of everyone. So it suggests that it's a very strange set of circumstances that a sort of witness would just go, right, I don't want this now.
Also, I'm pretty sure there's another. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I just want to say, like, football fans have a weird relationship with morality. Like you've seen that with like Newcastle fans. Obviously, everything's going great because the team's playing great. But there's obviously very questionable moral implications of being backed by the Saudi Arabian government. United fans were quite happy to welcome Ronaldo back. There's some extremely questionable behavior that he's been involved in that was made to go away, which there's evidence of. So it's, yeah, I mean, football's a weird one. In this case, I mean, he's a young guy, and I think, it's almost certain that what he did. Does that mean he should never get to play football again in his life? I don't think that's the case. I think there needs to be something demonstrated that he's potentially gone through some sort of growth and work to become a better person. I don't know the circumstances around that. So I don't know if it should be that he should be, stopped from ever playing football again, because I don't think you can do that to people. If you believe in rehabilitation and growth, then that should be allowed. But if it's just a case of charges are dropped, let's have him back, no further explanation, I think that's wrong. I don't think that should happen. I think there needs to be a little bit more context behind this and what's gone on. But it's messy. I don't think there's an easy answer to this, other than that, I don't agree with him coming back immediately right now.
Not immediately, no.
Yeah.
I also think there's something, the way you brought up, why the charges were dropped. That's what everybody's doing, and they're not mentioning the other part. So I hear the part, and I don't know why, and I think I know why. Because everybody's supporting the alleged victim, right? So, because he allegedly did these things, so she's an alleged victim. But so then they say that key witnesses pulled out. So we kind of know. But then again, it could be some of her friends too. So we don't know. But they also say there was an introduction of new evidence. But nobody's saying that part. Everybody that disagrees with him coming back to United only mentions the first part. I think you have to mention all of it. So it might not just be the key witness, if it's her, refusing, because they also read this thing where they could prosecute without her. You know what I mean? She doesn't have to be there. So I think that's also possible, but they're choosing not to. So listen, before Man United, if they decide to bring him back, all the information that they could get to make this easier on him, and I don't want this just to be easy on him, I want this to be easy on her too. Whatever, if he did something to her, I want her to get everything to help her heal. And if he didn't, then I want her to get everything to make her heal. And if he did, he needs everything to take all the right steps to get better, and before he can come back to football. I just know that we heard a piece of a thing, and there's always more context to a piece of a thing. I feel what is the context which this court decided to drop something that in everybody's mind was a unanimous thing? That piece is really missing from all of us. And that piece is missing for him, for a crowd to watch this guy play and support him. That piece is missing, and it at some point should be filled in to,
I think also it's also potentially a difficult spot for United, even if you do want to bring him back, because this is probably not the last we've heard of this case. Typically in a case like this, it'll be months, maybe even years down the line, more information is going to come out in surrounding the situation that led to the charges being dropped, right? And you don't want to have this. So you've got Mason Greenwood back, and he's now a star player in your team. And now it turns out that, hey, as Lee was saying, there were some nefarious things that happened in the background that led to the charges being dropped. And in which case you've actually now went out and supported the guy who benefited from that act for after knowing all of this. So, which is why I feel with the whole, we forget, it's a tough thing to talk about, but Thomas Partey is actually now on his third bail out, and he's regularly.
I'm not an Arsenal fan. That's not tough for me to talk about.
Yeah, but I'm saying that like the team is going for the Premier League title. He is one of the biggest contributors to the team. He's regularly fitted on match of the day. His manager doesn't lose any opportunity to big him up. It's not even something in the past. He's actively part of an investigation.
And we don't even think about it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Because
which is what I'm saying. If United is being cautious, I think that's definitely the way to go about it. Because guess what? Arsenal wins this league. If the investigation brings something up, this title will always be tainted for reasons that have nothing to do with football. So why would you, even if you leave the morality aside, which I'm not saying you should, I think morality does play a big role in this, but even if you does leave it aside and just think of it from a business point of view, which all of these football clubs are, it doesn't make sense for me to try and, okay, you got to honor his contract, right? As part of company law, maybe. Fine. You keep him on the payroll and do what you have to do. But yeah, I would really say don't make him front and center of the footballing side of things.
Yeah. I say they should just wait a while. I also say they should hire their own investigator if they haven't. That would actually be a good TV show, like an investigator for sports teams for when.
That'll be a jam-packed episode this season. They'll have like 10 episodes.
Like the guy that investigates besides the police, if the person did it or not, but I think about Kobe Bryant, like even when the case happened, everybody mostly supported him, and then he went and dropped like 80 something in a game, and and he was innocent after that. He was nobody who could drop 80 could have raped someone. Forget that. Like Lakers fans, even fan teams, players, like I rarely hear fans from other teams give like Kobe when he was playing, after he stopped playing, especially when he died, even bring that shit up. I feel like for Mason, it's like you just nailed it when you said partay. And this is not my wish, but this is my observation, that when you play and you deliver, like Ronaldo's case, people only focus on what you're doing on the pitch, and whether that's sad or wrong or right.
Like Harry Maguire gets so much shit for that incident at the Greek prison. That's because he's the bad centre back.
Our friends treat Harry Maguire, because of the way he plays, like a convicted rapist.
Yeah.
We if Mason Greenwood came back and scored a goal a game, there's fans that would still dislike Harry Maguire more than anything.
Yeah, and it's only because he's a bad centre back. It's got nothing to do with what he actually did.
But it's playing, right? That's like fans, like you were saying something about fans deal with morality. Like whether it's wrong, whether the person's innocent or guilty, if they deliver on the pitch, people just forget. And that's Mason Greenwood's, say he did do something and he messed up and he's young and he's going to do better later on in life, and this is just a moment, then the only way for him to get past this moment is to be good on the pitch. It's the only way, I
think it's going to be tough, because no matter what really happens, this is always going to follow him for the rest of his life.
But look at Mendy. Mendy just beat 6 charges. The jury couldn't decide on 3. So now he's going to be tried again in June on those. This is never going to, even if he beats those 3 in June and he's innocent, Like, who's going to ever forget that?
I think the biggest difference with in the court of the court of law is one thing, right? But in the court of public perception, the biggest thing is in the Mason Greenwood case, people have actually seen some of this shit. Like, it's out there, and that will never go away from people's minds.
Right.
So that's why I feel like compared to a lot of other celebrity cases, this one is probably the toughest to come back from.
Right. But shouldn't that also, again, like, tell us something? Like, if we saw that and the police saw that and they dropped it, like, it's just, there's something missing.
Yeah. And I'm sure we'll get that information,
later on.
Yeah, it's going to take a while, but.
Yeah, I wish we had that information. Like, how is the police when it comes to this type of thing in England? Because on one of the things that on one of the sites, the United sites, they were saying that, like, rape convictions are very low in England. I know it's kind of low here too, and it's not fair. So we want women to get treated fairly. We don't want people getting away with shit. And just as a Black man, I don't want people getting away with shit that they do to people, because I'm from a race of people that we get dumped on all the time. So it doesn't matter what part of my gender or any gender. It's like, I don't want people to get away with shit that they did to people.
Yeah, I think the conviction rate and stuff, I think, is something people have brought up, but it's such a messy, murky area of life, and all you can hope is that the process, whatever it is, gives the best chance of a outcome of justice, whether that's a conviction or a not guilty. And yeah, without knowing all the details, I think it's just speculation a lot of the time. So it's a real messy one to try and say exactly what should happen on it. But yeah, I mean, it's just a hard one to discuss, really.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, it ain't easy, but we'll see. Want to bash Spurs real quick before we get out of here? Pick the mood up.
Always.
Spurs, actually, I'm pretty sure Martin's feeling so down about this whole thing. Spurs has spent 180 million euros this season, so it's not like they've been absolutely frugal in the market.
Martin might know that, but Conte probably don't know that, because he acts like 180
million euros. Yeah,
that's almost 200 mil.
Yeah,
they need a whole new defense. Maybe this guy will help them. I'm not sure. Pedro Porro.
So do they have
terrible
an option
business.
for that?
I think so, because they released Matt Doherty completely from his contract early.
For real?
Because they needed to free up space, and I think Doherty's going to go to Atletico Madrid if it's not already been confirmed. On a free transfer, yeah. Because they got so many right wing backs. They've got Emerson Royale, they got Jed Spence, they got Doherty. So they already had 3 players in that position. So they had to free up a space. Let me just, he's already signed for Atletico Madrid on a free. So obviously there wasn't as much of a rush for that, because if he's on a free transfer, he can play out, so he can transfer outside the window. But yeah, Spurs is a club who their business is always quite mixed. I don't know if Lucas Moura left in the end, because he was being rumoured with a whole bunch of places, because his contract's up in the summer and he's not staying. So
is he out already, or he's gonna leave?
I'm not sure. They signed Danjuma, who was kind of the replacement there already.
Okay.
So I'm not even sure. Let me just have a look. Lewis Moura.
And they loaned out Brian Gill.
he went back to Spain, I think.
Yeah,
maybe.
back to somewhere in Spain.
But yeah, Mora was playing for the under-21s the other day.
Oh shit.
I know he's returned back to training this week. So yeah, he didn't go anywhere. He's still there. We were being linked with him at one point.
That would have been good for you guys.
Yeah, I
He
wouldn't have
gets some
said
people
no.
in scoring positions.
Yeah, and he's an experienced player who can finish. So I wouldn't have been against that. But yeah, we opted for Sulemana, the Ghanaian winger, and obviously Onua, the Nigerian centre forward. So yeah, we got our guys. But yeah, I mean, as long as Spurs don't finish top 4, I'll be happy.
Me too. All right, guys. I appreciate y'all. It's not easy to discuss some of these things. But we'll see what happens.
Looking forward to the game tomorrow.
I'm definitely watching that tomorrow.
Willian, I'm scared of Willian again. Like, we've got like a million players since he left. You still have to deal with the ghost of Willian.
The boogeyman.
It's crazy.
You know he's coming for y'all. You know
He actually gave us a great interview today. I think somebody did, like, some newspaper in England did a long piece on him. And he said that, because he played Fulham a few weeks ago too, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I spoke to my kids about who are they going to support tomorrow, and they say Chelsea. Like, they're Chelsea fans. So
what?
They're like, Daddy, we want you to score, but we want Chelsea to win.
So, sure.
Because they pretty much like grew up around Chelsea. He was there for a long time.
So he raised them right.
Chelsea, yeah.
According to if it goes by your law.
Yeah. And I'm hoping to see Enzo Fernandez being registered, because apparently he needs to be registered by 4 p.m. tomorrow. All the work permit, all of that needs to be done by then, and then he can play the game at, I think it's at 8 p.m.
I just want to see Hakeem Ziyech on the bench fuming.
Don't be surprised if he starts.
I mean, that'd be weird. They didn't even plan on having him, and he's going to start.
Hey, I mean, we were all busy with Enzo Fernandez. He came on, it happened on Enzo Day. It shouldn't have happened on Enzo Day. He should have done it day earlier. All right. We were you remember how I was saying on this podcast that we were trying to save some money on Enzo Fernandez, trying to like haggle the price down like my mom used to do. Turns out these guys ain't like my mom. They ended up paying exactly what the guy wanted.
Yeah, there's no deals on
there's
Enzo Fernandez's. It's one price.
I was looking out the window at the airport, just looking at that runway for nothing on Tuesday when Fernandez was going to fly in. He ended up coming in on a Wednesday, so yeah, I missed out.
That's how long
there was a whole bunch of paparazzi at the airport as well. Just all stood around the perimeter fence, just freezing cold, looking really miserable. Because I think they knew it wasn't happening either, but they had to be there. They all had like their long range camera lenses and stuff. I could see them because I was in a conference center like inside the airport, because it's like a sort of private international airport where there's a whole bunch of like flights. Like Abramovich used to have a plane there back in the day because it's not far from Cobham. So yeah, everyone at the conference was like, "Oh, we're going to see a Premier League player land today." But yeah, nothing, because Chelsea were dragging their heels.
Dragging their
Benfica. And but I really love their the announcement video. The club they commissioned this Argentinian artist to make a song. He's the guy who actually made apparently a pretty famous song for the World Cup that they just won. So they got him to like do a special, like a 20-second, 30-second song for.
Oh, great! Financial fair play. We'll be adding that to the bill. Yeah, you hear that financial fair play?
That's chump change.
Calculate that too.
They'll claim he did it pro bono.
Yeah. We're paying him over an 8-year period for the song, so you can't just charge us one lump sum.
Oh, because we're going to be getting one Argentinian player. Hopefully, if Enzo is a success, use that as a hook to get the next big thing from Argentina every year.
Good luck.
He's a future
All right,
captain, apparently, at Argentina.
No pressure. No pressure on Enzo at all. Good. It's good. It's 21, remember, everybody. It's 21. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all pulling up, putting in, and it's good to see the Premier League back. And man, I can't wait to see that new team, Chelsea. Like, I've never seen them play before, so it's almost as if you just got promoted.
Yeah, it's Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, basically. All right, guys. Any last words?
No.
Just follow me on the socials, Lee Hudson Comedy on Instagram and that. I'll post up there whenever I've got shows, got stuff all around the UK the next few weeks, and then be in LA towards the end of the month and start of March. So I'll be posting up some shows on there as well. So yeah, if you're in any of those places, come say hi.
Cool.
Dope. And yeah, follow me at Ian Edwards Comic on Instagram, and all my dates are there. She got Neil.
Yeah, at Sawyer's Lawyer. I'm sure there's a lot more to fight with me on. Absolutely nothing of my doing. Apparently, I have to answer for, well, at least, people can't throw the whole dirty Russian money, oil money at me anymore. This time we let you guys pick. We are like, all right, the UK government, you decide what's best for us. This is all they're doing now.
Is that how you think this is how everybody's going to remember it?
Yeah, we got a couple of, everybody says American owners, Chelsea's going to suffer. That's the route we went down.
We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. And we'll talk next week. But enjoy the podcast. Like and subscribe and comment on YouTube. Wait a minute. That's not the... This is the button.
All right, guys.